It is 4:47 in the morning, day 3 with no power. The house has been dropping a degree every 40 minutes since the furnace died, and the thermostat above the hallway now reads 39. You can see your breath over the baby monitor. Your wife is downstairs in the dark, trying to read the side of a bleach bottle by the light of a phone that is at 6%. She does not know if it is the kind you can put in water. You do not know either. The kid in the crib has a cough that was not there yesterday. And outside, somewhere 2 streets over, you can hear an engine. Somebody's gas generator. Somebody who got lucky at the hardware store before the rush. You can hear it because everything else everywhere is silent. The kind of silent a city is never supposed to be. The insulin in the fridge has been above 40 degrees for 19 hours. You did the math at midnight. You have, optimistically, until tomorrow night before that vial stops being medicine. The pharmacy on Route 9 has had a handwritten sign in the window since Tuesday. Cash only, no insulin, do not ask. Your phone is at 4%. The car has a quarter tank. And the news, the last time the news worked, said the grid was expected back in 48 to 72 hours, which was 48 hours ago. No alarm, no phone tree, no federal convoy on your street. Just you, the cold, and a clock you cannot see but you can feel. And 2 streets over, that generator is still running. Yours is not. There is a reason, and there is a fix nobody is selling you. Here is what nobody at the big survival retailers is going to tell you because there is no margin in telling you. There are 5 levels of power outage preparedness. 5 tiers, each one more serious than the last. Most of you, even the ones who feel prepared, are stopped somewhere around level 2. The 5th level is a power source that runs silently, has no moving parts, no engine, no gasoline, and almost nobody on your block has ever heard of it. I am saving it for the end on purpose, because every level before it is a setup for the one that finishes the job. And the reason you have never heard of level 5 is the same reason a bug-out bag costs $250 with a tactical font stamped on it. There is no money in selling you the cheap, durable, boring thing that actually works. The survival industry sells you fear with a price tag. The government sells you a hotline that picks up 72 hours late. We are going to do something different. I am Travis Tanner. I spent the back half of my 20s and most of my 30s running logistics for the United States Army. The unglamorous math of keeping people fed, warm, and powered when the supply line breaks. Because in my line of work, the supply line broke on a Tuesday and nobody apologized. Since I got out, I have spent close to 400 hours cross-referencing federal after-action reports, price data, food storage guidance, and the field manuals against what actually went wrong in Texas in 2021, in Puerto Rico in 2017, in New Orleans in 2005. I am not here to scare you. I am here to make sure you are the calm one on your block. This is the homework you do not have time to do yourself. So here is where we are going. 5 levels, climbing. Each one names a specific way a power outage kills your family, and the cheap, buyable today thing that stops it cold. Level 1 is where most people stop. Level 3 is where the smart ones land. Level 4 is where the serious money goes and where most of that money is wasted. And level 5 is the one I told you about, the silent one. We do not get there without going through the other 4 first. Let us get one piece of normalcy bias out of the way. The story you have been told, the one that lets you sleep, is that if the lights go out, somebody is coming. A truck, a uniform, a generator on a trailer. The data says otherwise. The National Response Framework, 3rd edition, 2016, states the obvious in bureaucratic language. Federal assistance takes 72 hours minimum to mobilize at scale, and that is the optimistic read on a good day with good roads. In Katrina, large parts of New Orleans did not see meaningful federal aid for 5 days. The official death toll was 1,833. The House of Representatives published a 520-page report on what went wrong and titled it, "A Failure of Initiative." That is the report. That is the title. Turns out the government will help is a plan the same way I will win the lottery as a retirement plan. Hope is not logistics. So if nobody is coming for 3 days minimum, the question becomes what kills you in those 3 days. The United States Army Survival Manual, FM 2176, the one they hand out at Fort Benning, answers it plainly. They call it the rule of threes. 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter in harsh conditions, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. That is the priority list. That is the order the human body shuts down. It is also the order we are going to fix things in tonight. The 5 levels of power outage preparedness are not arbitrary. Level 1 keeps you from dying in the dark in the first 3 hours. Level 2 keeps you from freezing or overheating. Level 3 gives you water past day 3. Level 4 gives you power past day 7. And Level 5, the silent one, keeps the whole stack alive past week 2, when everybody else's gas generator is a paperweight. The order is not mine, it is physiology. We just follow it. And here is the question almost nobody asks themselves before the lights go out. It is not, do I have supplies? Anybody with a credit card can have supplies. The question is, can you reach them? In the dark? In the first 60 minutes? Before anyone else on your street knows you have them. That is the real preparedness test. That is the line between level 1 and everything above it. You are still watching this, by the way. Most people clicked off 2 minutes ago to go back to pretending. That already puts you somewhere 95% of your neighbors will never be. Hold on to that. We are going to need it. Level 1, right now. Level 1, light. The level where most of your neighbors stop. The level where most of your neighbors quietly hurt themselves the first night. The lights go out at 8:47 p.m. You are walking from the kitchen to the bedroom and you forget about the toy on the second step. You go down hard. Or your 68-year-old mother does. A wrist breaks. A hip breaks. The hospital is taking ambulance traffic only because the ER is on generator power, and you are now a low-priority case bleeding in the dark on a hardwood floor. This is not hypothetical. In the August 14, 2003 Northeast blackout, 50 million people across 8 states and Ontario, the largest blackout in American history, the CDC documented at least 11 deaths in New York City alone. Not from heat, not from looting, from falls, from candle fires, from people walking down stairwells they could not see. The United States-Canada Power System Outage Task Force Final Report 2004 lays it out. Most fatalities in the first 24 hours of a major blackout are mundane. Stairs, bathtubs, a kitchen knife somebody picked up by the blade because they could not see it. The fix is $12. A generic 300-lumen LED flashlight from the hardware aisle, 4-pack, about $12 for the set. Add a 48-count pack of AA batteries, $10. 1 flashlight in every bedroom drawer, 1 on the kitchen counter, 1 in the car. Store them with the batteries out of the flashlight. Corrosion is the only thing that kills a stored light. Cool, dark, dry. While you are there, grab 7 one-gallon jugs of water at $1.28 each. About $9, 3 days for a family of 3. That is the planning floor of 1 gallon per person per day. Total level 1, about $31. That keeps you walking and drinking through night 1. It does not keep you warm. And in February of 2021, the thing that killed people in Texas was not the dark. It was the cold creeping into the bedroom while they slept with 3 blankets and a phone at 2%. Level 2 is where that gets handled, and it costs less than a tank of gas. Level 2, thermal control. The level that decides whether you make it through night 2. Hypothermia does not look like a movie. It looks like your toddler being unusually sleepy at 3 a.m. It looks like you, the adult, making slow, stupid decisions because your core temperature has dropped 2 degrees and you do not know it yet. Hypothermia looks like making slow, stupid decisions about which bleach to drink. The medical literature is clean on this. Core body temperature below 95 Fahrenheit and your judgment starts going. Below 82 and the heart starts skipping. You do not feel it happening. That is the part that kills people in their own living rooms. February 2021, Winter Storm Uri, Texas. The Department of State Health Services published the official mortality report in 2022. 246 storm-related deaths statewide. 43 of those were direct hypothermia, people in their own homes, under blankets, with the heat off for less than 4 days. Independent excess mortality estimates put the real number above 700. The grid operator's own post-event report admitted the grid was, quote, minutes and seconds away from a total collapse that could have meant outages lasting weeks or months. That was not a doomer estimate. That was the grid operator. In a state-published document, on state letterhead. The fix is $40. 8 emergency Mylar blankets at $1.25 each from the camping aisle. That is $10, 2 per person for a family of 4. They reflect 90% of your radiated body heat back at you. They are the same blanket marathon runners get wrapped in at the finish line. 4 fleece throws at $4.88 apiece, $20, 1 per person, layered under the Mylar. A $10 basic first aid kit and a $5 bottle of 70% isopropyl alcohol. Because in a cold house with no urgent care open, a kitchen cut becomes sepsis in 72 hours. Store the Mylar flat. Store the alcohol cool and dark. Total? About $45. That keeps you warm and intact through night 3. But warm does not help you if you are drinking from the tap in a city that just lost water pressure. And level 3, water, is where the cheap thing actually starts to look insulting compared to what the industry is charging. Level 3, water. Day 4 with no running pressure and your kid is too thirsty to be patient. You let her drink from the rain barrel because waiting feels worse than the risk. 72 hours later it is cramping, fever, watery diarrhea, and the 4-year-old is losing fluid faster than you can replace it from the bottles you have left. That is not a tropical disease. That is dysentery. In a house in Ohio, in 2025. Because the city water plant lost pressure for 36 hours and the boil notice did not reach you because your phone died. This is the post-disaster killer nobody photographs. After the 2010 Haiti earthquake, the World Health Organization documented over 820,000 cholera cases and nearly 10,000 deaths, almost all of them from drinking water that looked clean. Severe cholera can drain a liter of fluid an hour. After Texas froze in 2021, the Commission on Environmental Quality issued boil water notices to 14 million residents. Some cities had no safe water for a week. And in Sarajevo, during the 44-month siege of the 1990s, the most dangerous activity in the city was walking to a public tap. The United Nations documented residents shot collecting water because they had not stored any. The fix is $32. Total, 1 mini water filter, $21.95. The manufacturer rates it to filter up to 100,000 gallons and remove 99.99999% of bacteria. 1 $3 bottle of unscented household bleach from the cleaning aisle. The Federal Emergency Disinfection Protocol is 8 drops per gallon, stir, wait 30 minutes. 1697, 1 pound bag of calcium hypochlorite pool shock from the hardware store. The technical note says 1 heaping teaspoon treats 200 gallons. 1 pound treats roughly 13,000 gallons. Store the bleach cool and dark, 6 to 12 month rotation. Store the pool shock dry, airtight, non-metal container. $32. Tens of thousands of gallons of safe water. Cost per gallon, about a 1/20 of a penny. Quick aside, I built a 1-page printable for the food side of this. 90 days of calories for a family of 4 for under $50. First link in the description, completely free. Back to it. Water is solved. Power is not. And level 4 is where the survival industry takes you for $600. Level 4. Power. And here is where it gets ugly because the cheap fix to one death mechanism creates a worse one. You bought the 2,000-watt inverter generator at the hardware store for $649. Good. You are running it in the attached garage with the door cracked because it is snowing. 90 minutes later, you are confused. 2 hours later, you are nauseated. 3 hours in, your wife finds you on the laundry room floor and she does not make it to the phone. Carbon monoxide. Odorless. Colorless. 250 times more eager to bind to your blood than oxygen is. A $600 generator that kills you in your sleep is not technically preparedness. This is documented. After Hurricane Ike hit Texas in 2008, the CDC's report counted at least 17 carbon monoxide deaths in the 3 weeks after landfall. Almost all of them from generators run in garages, basements, or near windows. After Hurricane Sandy in 2012, 12 more. After Uri in Texas, 11. The clinical guidance is clear. At 800 parts per million carbon monoxide, you are unconscious in 45 minutes and dead in 2 to 3 hours. At 3,200 parts per million, you are dead in 30. A running generator in an attached garage hits those numbers. People do not believe it until the autopsy. 2 fixes, stacked. First, and this is non-negotiable, a battery-operated carbon monoxide alarm, $18.97, 1 per floor minimum, 5-year sensor life. That is $3.79 a year for not dying in your sleep. Second, skip the $600 gas generator if you can. A 300-watt-hour lithium power station from any big-box retailer runs about $299. Pair it with a 100-watt solar panel, $99. Total $400. Silent, no exhaust. Charges phones, runs LED lights, runs a CPAP, runs a small medical fridge for hours, stores indefinitely. No gas to find, no jerry cans to refill, no neighbor hearing your engine at 3 a.m. and remembering you have something they do not. But here is the limit. That $400 battery setup lasts you, realistically, 2 or 3 days of careful use before the panel cannot keep up with cloudy weather and short winter sun. After Hurricane Maria, Puerto Rico's grid was down for 11 months. 11. Battery and solar does not get you to month 11. Something else does. Level 5, the silent one. The one I told you about at the start. The one I made you wait for. The one with no moving parts. Here it is. And once you see it, you will understand why every level before it was the setup. The 5th level of power outage preparedness is a device called a thermoelectric generator, TEG for short. And the reason almost no one on your block has heard of it is exactly the reason I have been hammering at this whole video. A thermoelectric generator turns heat directly into electricity. No engine, no piston, no spinning anything. It is a solid-state semiconductor block that uses the Seebeck effect, the same physics the space agency uses to power deep space probes and the Mars rovers, where you cannot exactly stop for gas. You put a heat source on one side, a wood stove, a propane burner, the chimney of any fire you are already running for warmth, and DC electricity comes out the other. Silent. No exhaust in your living space, no fuel logistics beyond something that burns. And here is why this is the level that separates you from the herd. In a long outage, Maria's 11 months, Sarajevo's 44 months, Venezuela's grinding multi-year collapse, 3 things happen in sequence. The gas stations run dry, so your generator dies. The neighbors' generators die, and the few still running advertise their owners as targets. And the cold storage holding insulin, EpiPens, and antibiotics fails, because there is nothing left to power a fridge. The Department of Science and Technology in India announced a 200-watt TEG in 2020, designed specifically for remote critical loads. Quote, noise, vibration, and maintenance-free operation. The physics is older than I am. A small stovetop TEG that puts out 10 to 15 continuous watts costs $200 to $300 at retail today. Under $300 from a handful of specialty manufacturers. 10 watts charges 2 smartphones, runs a hand crank radio's batteries, and keeps a small medical cooler on. It runs every time you cook a meal on your butane burner from level 2 or your wood stove. The heat was already going to be there. The TEG just collects what your gas generator would dump into the atmosphere. Every other level fails without this one if the outage goes past 2 weeks. Battery dies, solar gets clouded, gas runs out, heat is forever. No moving parts, no tailpipe, no engine noise calling the neighbors. The same physics that powers a probe 2 billion miles from the sun sitting on top of your wood stove. That is level 5. Let me be honest with you for a second because I owe it to you. I could be overstating the timeline. The American grid is more resilient than the doom channels want you to believe. The Energy Information Administration says the average customer loses power for about 5 hours a year, not 5 days, and most of you will never see a multi-day outage. That is the truth. But the cost of building all 5 of these levels, flashlight, mylar, water filter, CO alarm, battery station, and yes, even a small TEG down the road, is less than what most of you spent on a single car repair this year. So the math is, even if I am wrong about the threat, what did it cost you? An afternoon and a Saturday. That is the trade. That is the whole pitch. So here is what you do before you go to sleep tonight. 3 things. Total time, under 30 minutes. Total cost, under $100 if you do not already own them. 1. Fill every empty container in your kitchen with tap water. Pitchers, jugs, the spaghetti pot, the coffee carafe. Every one. Right now, while the pressure still works. It costs nothing. 2. Put 4 items in tomorrow's shopping cart. A flashlight 4-pack, a bag of AA batteries, a CO alarm, and a $3 bottle of unscented bleach. Under $50 total. That is levels 1, 2, and a chunk of 3 in one shopping run. 3. Get an index card. Write down in your own handwriting who in this house needs medication, where it is, how cold it needs to stay, and the 2 phone numbers your family calls if the grid drops for more than 12 hours. Tape the card inside a kitchen cabinet, not on the fridge. The fridge does not work in a blackout. That is it, you are done. And you are now measurably, provably, with receipts, ahead of 95% of your block. Not because you panicked, not because you bought the $250 bag with the tactical font, because you positioned, because you did the boring 30-minute version of the homework while everyone else was scrolling. We do not panic, we position. That is the whole thing. That is all 5 levels in 4 words. Drop a comment and tell me, which level are you actually at right now, honestly? Level 1, flashlights and a couple jugs? Level 3, you have got the filter and the bleach? Level 4, you have got a battery station charging in the closet? Or, and this would impress me, Level 5, you have already got a small TEG, and you knew about the Seebeck effect before I said it. Tell me what level. Tell me what I missed. There is always something. I read every comment that comes in. And do me one favor before you click away. Send this video to the one person in your life you would actually drive across town for in a snowstorm. The sister who lives alone. The dad who still thinks his gas generator in the garage is fine. The friend with the new baby. Send it to them tonight, not for me. I'm doing okay. For them. Before they are the ones standing in front of the empty shelf. I put the food side of this together as a 1-page printable. I call it the $50 plan. 90 days of calories for a family of 4 for about $50. The shopping list, the storage method, Mylar and oxygen absorber instructions, all on one sheet you can tape inside a pantry door. Completely free. First link in the description. Next one up, we go deeper on level 5 specifically. Which TEGs are worth the money, which are toys, and how to pair one with a wood stove for genuine multi-month off-grid power. Subscribe so it lands in front of you when it drops. Until then, stay sharp, stay positioned. Build the levels in order. Travis.